the officers of the South Miami Center, we would like to welcome the other 2 centers in Miami, including the newest center that was formed in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to all of you, and we hope you have a very good day today. We started off this auspicious weekend with a wonderful speaker and continuation of our Distinguished Speakers series. I'm sure you have seen the Vimeos and the YouTubes that Dr. Sunder Iyer has been part of, with all the links that we've been sending you recently. And now we have Dr. Sunder Iyer, who's going to talk to us. I would request that all of you please turn off your cell phones. If you haven't had breakfast, please go ahead and do so, because I'm going to request Sai Brother Bala Subramaniam, who's going to formally introduce Dr. Sunder Iyer. Thank you.
Let me try again. Sayonara, everyone. Okay, that was good. All right. Thank you, Kersey, for giving me this unique privilege and honor. So without much ado, let me quickly dive in here. Dr. Sunder Iyer, he is from Cleveland, Ohio, and as Kersey mentioned before, he's an alumni of the Sri Sati Sai Institute of Higher Learning. And interestingly, he was the first batch, he belonged to the first batch of students that ever came into Swami's university. And this was back in the year 1979. And then he completed his graduation, his post-graduation, and subsequently he went on to do his PhD in banking and finance. Completed and got this degree in the year of 1989. Then he continued to teach in Swami's university for about 5 years until the year 1994. And as with all students in his time, right, they had innumerable occasions of being very close to Swami. And so Dr. Sunder had this unique opportunity to be at his lotus feet and learn from his direct divine presence. In addition to this, he had the unique privilege of being Swami's personal attendant for a short period during his stay in Puttaparthi. So a little bit about Dr. Sunder himself, right? Dr. Sunder, his passion is in practicing and teaching yoga, right? So there's banking and finance on one side and there's yoga on the other side. And he was the only student who received a gold medal from the Divine Hands during the very first convocation of the Sri Sati Sai University. Normally the gold medals are for academic achievement, but Dr. Sunder had the unique privilege of getting a gold medal for his yoga practices. His passion for spreading the message of Swami through yoga and meditation has taken him all around the world, and he has been conducting yoga and meditation camps. So earlier this year, Dr. Sunder decided he's going to give up his regular profession. He's an IT consultant by profession, and he's given up that regular job and he's taken to spreading Swami's message through yoga and oneness as his life's mission. So with this brief introduction, I now invite Dr. Sunder to address the devotees. Dr. Sunder. Sayonara.
Om Sri Sai Ram. I offer my most prayerful, most loving, and most humble pranams at the feet of our beloved Lord and Master, Sai. Thank you, Kersey brother, for this wonderful opportunity. I consider it my greatest blessing, my greatest passion to share my faith and inspiration. And that's what makes a satsang a satsang. So we share our stories, we share our faith, we share our inspiration, and together we carve a path to divinity. So I'm very grateful and very humbled every time I'm given the mic and said, speak. It's very easy to speak, very difficult to practice. So I chose the easy path to speak. But the catch is I'm speaking in his presence. So every time I say something, I know he is there to test me and to make sure I mean what I say. So I pray to Swami to guide me, my thoughts and my words today, and be a part of the satsang as he always is, and that we feel his divine energy today in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirit, in this very room, so that we use this occasion once again to raise ourselves, to get a glimpse of his divinity. Thank you also, Brother Bala, for this very warm introduction. If you're not aware, we students have an understanding. Say good things about each other in every different Sai centers. I have to confess that. So I owe one to Bala now, next time. I would like to begin this satsang with a prayer to Goddess Saraswati, Goddess of learning who sits on the tip of our tongue. I would like to invoke her. And this thought was put into my head today morning by this little girl Shruti. I was in Bala's house and I said, can you sing me something? And she sang Yakun Devu. And I felt I should maybe begin that with that small prayer. So, Yakun Devu Tushara Vastravrita Ya Veena Varadanda Mandita Kara Ya Sveta Padmasana Ya Brahmachuta Shankara Prabhrdivir Devai Sada Pujita Devai Sada Pujita Samambahu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishresha Jadhyavaha Nishresha Jadhyavaha. Let me begin the satsang with a disclaimer. Everything that I say today, take it with a pinch of salt. And I'll tell you why. The path to spirituality is so unique to each one of us. The path to experience Bhagavan is so unique to each one of us that my path can never be your path. We can share our inspiration, we can share our stories, we can share our lessons. But you've always got to remember that each one of us present only one little facet of this unfathomable personality of Bhagavan. And there is a little story that many of you probably heard it. And some of you youngsters here may not have heard this. It's about the 6 blind men. They had never seen an elephant. Or an elephantee, as I just learned this morning. They had never seen an elephant. So these 6 blind men were led by one volunteer, said, let me show you, poor things, you guys have never seen or felt or no idea what an elephant is. They said, no. So somebody took these 6 blind men to an elephant, and each of them went to one part of the elephant. So the guy who felt the trunk said, oh my gosh, what do you mean big? It's like more like a snake. An elephant is like a snake. The other guy who was feeling one of the legs of the elephant said, what do you mean snake? This is a hard pillar. The elephant is more like a pillar. Somebody who was at the tail said, this is neither a snake nor a pillar. It's just as thick as a rope. What are you guys talking about? And thus they went on, each describing the elephant through his own little experience that he had. So similarly, this is one blind man today, having touched one part of this infinite personality, sharing his experience. For those of you who have watched some of my interviews in Vimeo, I want you to bear with me because I don't have any more new stories to say. But I'll put a different spin to it and allow Swami to guide me. Because I think even for me, those stories are always unique in my mind, are always fresh in my mind, and every time I revisit them, I go back to the memories of my days with Swami. I go back to the little things that Baba said. None of them ever wasted. Every word that came out of his mouth had a meaning and a purpose. We didn't realize it then. We realize it now as our lives go by. I realize there is so much to learn constantly, even though the association physically was with him in the past 15 years ago. It's fascinating. Just to start this off with a small example, it comes to my mind as I was saying how little things that he said never goes wasted. Very recently I gave up my job and I'm full-time getting into this yoga practice. I want to take this to the West, and that's my way of presenting Swami. Everything I learned about yoga, everything I learned about the path was learned in Puttaparthi. And Swami would occasionally call me with some of these sadhus or monks. He would say, "Hey, Pichi, you also come, oh mad fellow." Because he would always taunt me, "You're mad, what is this yoga, you're a monkey," and he'd always pull my leg. But at the same time, he would always invite me for these small little sessions. And those are the times you sat at his feet and listened to some fantastic perspectives which you don't get in books and you don't get it in scriptures and all. This is something from the one who knows. But anyway, he always knew I was interested in yoga. So one day we were just sitting at his feet and he said, "What do you want to do with your life?" So I said, "Swami," though I was a teacher in Swami's Institute, I always wanted to teach yoga more than teaching banking and economics and all that. My boys know that very well. So I said, "Swami, someday I want to be a teacher in yoga. I want to be a yoga guru." "Oh, guru." "Oh, you want to be a guru like me?" "No, Swami." "No, Swami." So there are two things he said. First he said, "No, don't be like me. People throw stones at you. Don't be like me. Be a friend to everyone." So I like that part. So that made me think and that just mingle with the society, mingle with everybody as they are, and that's how we have to spread his teaching. But the other important, very unique thing he said, and I never paid attention to it till it struck me very recently. He said, "See, you are in the 20s now. If you're teaching yoga, nobody will believe." They say, "Chinnavadu, anni chestadu," means in Telugu. I just, pardon me if I, repeat Swami's words verbatim in Telugu. But what he meant was, "Oh, you're small, so you can do. People will want to respect you if you teach yoga today." And Swami Karunyananda was sitting there, and Swami jokingly, said, "See, when you're 50, if you're still practicing yoga, that time if you teach, people will listen. Now all know you." And he just, this is a casual conversation with Swami. And I never thought about it. So when I left Puttaparthi in 94, 95, I went to Bahrain for a little bit, came back, and then the first thing was I want to start a yoga thing. So I set up a center, it took off very well, but it didn't work out. And I got out of it. Long story short, last November was my 50th birthday. So I finished my 50th year, and then I met the right person at the right time. Suddenly things just fell into place. And only when I actually gave up my job, this incident suddenly hit me. Because I'm putting my thoughts in writing of my days with Swami and yoga perspectives and all that. Hopefully someday it'll take form of a book. But as I was thinking of this, suddenly it struck me that Swami had said this. And that was just a simple joking conversation. "Oh, when you're 50, if you're practicing, that time you decide to teach." So it's amazing how these little things, and every single thing like this, it was never wasted. He never wasted his word. It's unbelievable. I guess goosebumps even as I share this now with you. Because that was something I would have, and that made me think how many more conversations he had with me, and I have not yet placed it. It's going to help me in future in life. I don't know. There are so many things he has told me in the passing. It has never registered, but somewhere deep inside the seed is sown. Someday it will come forth. And this is just not my story. I mean, everybody whom you have met who have had that one word with Swami, when he passes by in darshan, if somebody gets up, he says, wait. That wait could mean so many things. It could be as simple as just wait, not now, don't give me this letter now. Or it could just be wait for whatever he is asking for, and only he would know it. And only Bhagavan would know it. And if he didn't understand it at that point, somewhere later in life he knew what that word wait meant. It's fascinating. This was the power which we as students, which I as a youngster, with a very open mind, I was a very inquisitive guy. I was a Bombayite, okay? I was a fan of Amitabh Bachchan. So I would never just take things for granted just because somebody told me. I would say, how do you know that? I mean, what do you mean Baba does miracles? What do you mean by miracle? So I wanted to explore it personally. And that is why the day I joined Puttaparthi, my desire was, I want to see what he does in his room, for me to fully accept it. You know, it's nice to walk around very peacefully like this and go give darshan, but I want to see what he does in that room. Not out of defiance. I wanted to place my faith. I wanted to believe in him, but I wanted that belief to be very strong. I wouldn't believe that, okay, I want to believe because I saw everybody rushing for darshan, I would also rush. Yeah, everybody was touching his feet, I would also touch. But deep inside me, I'm like, Baba, I need more. I'm just doing it to be courteous to everybody around me, but this is not who I am. I want to do more. Because I found as a youngster that what he said made perfect sense to me. Coming from a family which said, which had gods, Muruga, Shiva, Vishnu, you know how many gods we have, right? There's no end to it. 330 million gods, as a poet wrote once. Coming from an orthodox family like that, you ask certain questions, they would say, keep quiet, you're not supposed to ask questions. Who do you think you are to ask questions? I didn't ask question, you don't ask a question. So I was asking a question was wrong. And then you bump into Swami who says, the simplest things, love is God, God is love. Wow, how simple can that be? Now the first thing I read about Swami was Summer Showers in Vrindavan, and the first things I read where he says, I was expecting him to say, go to Durga Mandir every Friday, go to the Hanuman temple every Saturday, do this, do that. Not that those are wrong things, don't get me wrong. But as a youngster, I wanted something fresh, something new, something down to earth. And as I read it, he said, service to man is service to God. Love is God. Go out and serve. Hands that serve are holier than the lips that pray. I'm like, wow, this guy makes so much sense. So that was what drew me to Swami. And that is what stayed with me through my entire 15 and a half or 16 years of staying with Baba. That is what stayed with me. He was so down to earth. So down to earth. He was not about rituals. He was not about altars. He was not about worships. He was not about mantras. He was not about chanting. He was more about purity of heart. He was more about the essence of devotion, the power of devotion. He would talk about Radha. He would talk about Meera. He would talk about great saints and sages, but he would tell the essence of what they stood for. I remember once Swami was not talking to me earlier those days, one of those days, and I wrote to him, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to fast today. And I just wrote him a letter, I'm not going to eat. I had built on all these crazy things with Swami. So I would write to him, unless you talk to me, I'm not going to eat and all that. So I think it lasted 1.5 days, and then Swami called us inside for something, and then he looked at me and said, well, how mad can you be? You think I'm going to talk to you because you're hungry? Go eat something. So he made me eat something. That was very sweet of him. But he said, you know what is fasting for God? You think because you're fasting, God gets pleased? He said, and he said a beautiful anecdote here, and I want us to take these things home, because we think of fasting as a ritual, right? He said, Radha also fasted. He said, Radha also fasted. But do you know why her fasting reached God? I looked at Swami, I didn't answer anything. There had no clue. He said she was so lost in the thought of God, she forgot to eat. That is fasting. Not yours, I want to fast, I won't eat. That is not fasting. That is hysteria. I think Swami must have called me hysteria at least 1,000 times. I deserved it, every time I deserved it. But he said that is not fasting. But that point for me is so powerful. See, how many of us think we are pleasing God by fasting or doing upvas? But true fasting is when lost in the chant of God, lost in the thought of God, you forget to eat. So Radha forgot to eat. That is why she fasted. So similarly, if you think of Bhagavan Nityananda who danced Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, and seeing him dance, people thought, yeah, maybe if I dance like that, I'll also get his inclination. So everybody decided to imitate him. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. But he said he was in ecstasy. He didn't know he was dancing. He was in ecstasy. They cried when they were in ecstasy. They danced when they were in ecstasy. Purely lost in the love of God, they became one with this ideal of Krishna. And therefore their body swayed in the rhythm of music. But watching them externally, we say, oh, he danced, I can also dance. Maybe dancing helps me. So you sway and all. Now that becomes quote-unquote hysteria in Swami's eyes. Correct? So he always brought our focus back to the core of devotion. What devotion really meant. What bhakti is all about. And that, to me, there were many songs, and I'm going to share one or two songs with your permission. Some of these saints who, we drew a line, we drew a parallel between what they said and what Swami was, exactly the same. Swami has not been giving us something very unique. He's giving us the most powerful and the most traditional of our beliefs back to us. You know, there's a saying of old wine in a new bottle. He's just presenting it in a new fashion. But it is the same age-old truth that you are divine. You have to wake up to your own divinity. He presents it back in the form of stories, in the form of leelas. And it's fascinating how, in the course of just being lost in the thought of God, we can purify ourselves. And bhakti or devotion is a very, very, very powerful path to God. It may appear easy. Somebody might say, oh, you yoga, headstand and all, no need Baba, I'm happy being a bhakta. It's nice to say you're a bhakta or a devotee. But as Baba would say, you call yourself a devotee, that's fine. When does one become a true devotee? He says, when God accepts you and calls you, he is my bhakta. Then you become a true devotee. You put your own badge and your title, you can call yourself, we can call ourselves whatever we want. But then when he decides to call us as devotion, as a devotee, as Krishna did to Arjuna, he said, you are my warrior, you are my devotee. Once that title comes to you from him, then you have become a devotee. And to become a devotee of God, I think, is perhaps the most noblest of missions you can embark in life, because you're actually embarking on the destruction of all the image that you carry about yourself. You're embarking on how empty can you be and how you can be filled with him. You know, the flute that Krishna plays is hollow inside. So we had a brother, Ravi Teja, who played the flute, and Swami one day picked up the flute and he was beating on this thing. And he said, see, why does this make such good sound? Then he closed his finger, he put on the other end. He said, now can you play it? The boy said, no, Swami, no sound will come. Why? He says, it's blocked. He said, the more empty you become, the more God can play melodies through you. The more empty you are like the flute, the more empty you become, the more melodies God can play through you. The path of devotion is creating that emptiness. Less of me, more of you. Less of me, more of you. But we are clothed, full of who I am. And we are going to God, and then we try to fit Him into our definitions of who we are. That is why a poet sang, and let me share the song with you. It's in Hindi. The essence of the song is, Maili chadar od ke kaise dwar tumhare ko. Maili cha, how can I come in your very presence wearing this dirty cloak? How does this cloak become dirty? Because तूने मुझको जग में भेजा, निर्मल देकर खाया. You sent me into this world, gave me a perfectly pure cloak to wear. आकर के संसार में मैंने इसको दाग लगाया. I came into this world, and instead of maintaining that purity, I have brought in all kinds of stains onto this cloak. Oh, Sunder Iyer. Oh, 20 years with Baba. Oh, gold medal. Oh, PhD. I've just worn all stains all over the place. So I've defined who I am. I live in this so-called cloak, and all of us have cloaked ourselves like this. And this is not just this birth. Birth after birth after birth, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, you get the message. But we are constantly staining our cloak. How do I take this cloak and come to your presence, O God? You gave me such a beautiful voice. But instead of speaking about you, instead of speaking to you, I use it for gossiping. I use it for trash. Instead of closing my eyes and meditating upon you, I use it to see everything flirting by, everything frivolous. And having lived that kind of life, how do I come now and offer a song to you? So it is not about singing a bhajan in the mic. Oh, I didn't get a chance to sing. Oh, I am the oldest devotee, I must get my chance first. No, those are our own little egos playing fun here. But when I really sing, do I become empty? Can I become empty? What kind of song can I really offer you? Can my life be a song? Can I be that melody? And let my thought, my word, my action be the melody that you can listen to. You know, as I was talking yesterday in a small satsang, God listens to your actions more than your words. Right? We speak and we sing and we pray to Swami. But Baba says, I can't hear you because your actions are speaking louder than your words. So through our actions we can offer songs to Baba. And those actions can be as melodious as the best ghazal singer in the world that you can sit and listen to. Our feet, are they walking towards God? How can I bring this feet to you, God? Instead of traveling towards you, and that what that means is that every decision we make in every day, do we place God as our priority? Do we place Baba as our priority? Does our life revolve around Baba, or does the day revolve around what I want? We need to ask ourselves these questions. And I think occasions such as this, especially since Swami's resurrection, I like to call this day or this week or this time as Swami's resurrection. He's resurrected back into where he came from. Now he is all the more available to each one of us. No more VIPs, no more VVIPs, no more interviews. It's all interviews. He's open to all of us. Just as Christ was, just as Krishna is. He's come back, he's gone back. He was the infinite spirit. He took the birth of a human form, and we'll talk about stories of that. And then he's gone back to being the infinite spirit, which is within us, around us, in us. He always identified himself with that infinite spirit. And so if our lives revolve around him, then every step we take is a step towards him. I love this bhajan. And though initially you would feel this bhajan is very discouraging, it's more of a pessimistic bhajan. Oh my gosh, how I'm cloaked in dirt, how do I come to you? Oh, my voice is broken because I wasted my voice, how do I sing for you? Oh, I'm not walking in your path, so what can I do? It awakens that question. Then how do I clean this Nirmal Vani that you gave me? How do I clean this pure cloak that you had given me? That we adorned ourselves, right? So I love this bhajan. I like to offer it at this satsang and at Swami's feet. Sagapadani pa sa sa ni da pa ga pa da sa ni da sa मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे मन ही मन शर्माऊं 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 मन ही मन शर्माऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे मन ही मन शर्माऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे तूने मुझको जग में भेजा निर्मल देख कर पाया आकर के संसार में मैंने इसको दाग लगाया जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर कैसे दाग छुड़ाऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया ओ निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया नयन मूंद कर हे परमेश्वर कभी न शीश झुकाया मन वीणा की अब क्या गीत सुनाऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे When I was very new and fresh, this was probably my introspection going on. Maybe I need to get purified to get Baba's attention. We were about 100 students around Baba, and I was wondering, how do I get his attention? Now, having spent so many years under his umbrella, I know there is nothing like getting his attention. The fact that you were there You are among the chosen ones, and that itself is the greatest privilege. But then I told you, I was Amitabh Bachchan fan. I didn't have time for deep introspection, but I did introspect. So I wanted Baba to know my name. I want Baba to know who I am. There's 100 guys and Swami would pass by, and I wanted him to know I am Sunder Iyer. Because that was for me, that was very crucial. I needed a guru, I needed a teacher, and I needed a personal one. And so my introspection was, what is it? Do I need to purify myself? What does that mean? What have I done wrong in my 16 years of life anyway that I need to purify? But I knew there was some kind of a thing I had to go through to get his attention. I didn't know what it was. And so the hostel inauguration ceremony was coming. It was 1980 that we were living in the ashram itself, right across Swami's mandir, the first couple of years. And later on the hostel was built during that time. You know, when Baba's college started, the college was not ready. The hostel was not ready. And Baba started up the college. This is exactly what he does. Now if you say to somebody, I moved into my new home, oh, where is it? Oh, it's still being built. And you moved? Yes, you moved. They'll think you're crazy, right? You probably wouldn't do it. That is why I was talking yesterday of how we logically plan our lives. We think we are sane, this is the right way to do it. But God breaks all those rules and shows you how you can be so illogical and yet succeed. So the college was being built, college was not ready. The hostel was being built, the hostel was not ready. Oh, boys can still live in the sheds. Yeah, no problem. Let's start off. He couldn't wait because the time was right. He had to keep going. Whether the engineers were part of his plan, they had to catch up. It's amazing. And I hope I can remember to share these little things, how Swami just decides and goes for it. Nothing can stop him. How does he get this vision? How does he know this is the right time? You know, there are a lot of people who think Baba has a set of advisors who advised him. Nobody advised Baba, let me assure you. Even the closest a person would just stand and wait to be spoken to. Nobody would dare say, excuse me, Baba, and go and talk to him. Nobody. It's a tradition in India. The highest of the gurus are never spoken. You wait till you're spoken to. You never go and disturb them. So nobody. So Baba didn't have a set of advisors to say, Baba, let us plan. We like your vision of college now. Here, let's sit and plan together. It never happened that way. So he would come to our classes, which were held in the Ishwaramba High School. So the Ishwaramba High School, which is the oldest Telugu school that Swami started, which was built in stone, and Swami said that will last thousands of years, because that was the very first educational institution started by Baba, and it is completely built in solid stone. I don't think it's going anywhere. So those kids, poor kids, were all crammed into a few classes, and then we were given a few classes, so we crammed into classes. And guess what? Baba would come and visit us almost every day, because he was excited. This was his new thing. Oh, college, let's go to the classes. So, and Baba would come and visit us and sit in our classes, and he will walk, and we all want to see what he's doing. He'll say, no, I'm going to sit in the back seat, you all pay attention to the class lecturer. And the lecturer would probably be, I remember we had an economics lecturer, and I think he's still in Puttaparthi, and he was teaching us economics, and Baba walked in one day. And he said, what are you teaching? Oh, money, money. But he went and sat right at the back. And he said, oh, go look, everybody look in the front, don't look at me. And there was one boy who had, broken his glasses, and he has this thick soda glasses, we call it soda glasses, pardon me. I mean, I don't mean anything for people who wear thick glasses, but we used to call that. And this guy was that day looking at like this. And his name was Girish. And so Swami sat, he said, hey Girish, what is this? Why are you doing this? Swami, he broke his, so the one of those things that come off. Swami said, give it here. You look front. So, we don't know what Swami was doing with those glasses. We were very curious. Will he fix it? Won't he fix it? Will he fix it? Will he not fix it? What is he doing with the glasses? He said, nobody look at me, everybody look front. And I think it was about 20 minutes or so. Later Swami got up and looked at the boy, said, show your face, and put the glass, gave him spectacles back. And that boy until then had not, we were all discovering Swami in our own way, right? So the moment Swami left, he's like, how did he do this? How did he do this? I had lost that screw. That tiny little screw that I had lost it. There is no way he could have done this. The screw is right there. And we all crowded around him for the next 2 minutes. Really? Are you sure? Because for us, we were very new witnessing these things. And Swami would perform these things just as, he wouldn't announce it. He would be so subtle in his approach. And suddenly he just put the glasses and now you can see, good, go. So for him, that boy, poor thing, is struggling how to fix it. That was his aim. So when he did it and gone, and we were all excited. Anyway, so that was how, that was a blessing in disguise, that the college was not ready and the hostel was not ready. So we had a chance, because hostel was being built, we had the chance to live in the ashram and sleep in the sands around Swami's, just below his bedroom window. And so when the hostel was being finally ready, Swami said, now you'll have to move. And so we decided we'll make a big program for Swami and invite him and have him bless the inauguration occasion. So until then, I had not established, if you will, quote unquote, a personal contact with Baba. I was just one among the boys. I wanted desperately have that individual attention. And so I saw this inauguration program as a good chance for me to do something. Maybe I can perform something in front of Baba. So in Bombay, I was part of the Vyayam Shala. In Bombay, they have the RSS, and they used to have these young kids. They will teach them what is called Malkham, that you climb on a rope and you do yoga on the rope and all that. And thank goodness my father used to send me for that. And though I would hate it those days, that time I said, this is something I can do. I don't think Swami has ever seen somebody doing yoga on a rope. And so I was very thrilled that I could do that. And I spoke to the warden then. He said, because they were asking, there was a talent search among 150 boys, there was a talent search. Somebody said, I can sing, yeah, been there, done that. Swami said, boys singing. Who else? Somebody said, we can do Bhangra dance. Oh yes, that is good. We haven't tried dancing before Swami. Are you sure he'll like it? So we don't know, we'll give it a try. And that we were one of the first ones to jump and yell and scream in front of Swami. Puttaparthi, you get up at 4:30 in the morning, 5:30, and it's quiet. So one opportunity to do Bhangra, every boy wanted to be a part of it. Every boy, and Swami loved it. I mean, we could actually wear color clothes. So colored lungis and colored kurta. And that was one of I think the first time we ever did Bhangra in front of Swami. And Swami loved it so much, after that it became a permanent, got a permanent position in the programs that students put across in Swami's thing. So as they were doing this talent search, I said, I can do yoga on a rope. So they said, what is that? I said, oh, this is done in Maharashtra, it's something unique. I can climb 20, 30 feet up in the air. And so they were very excited. They said, okay, let's see if we can arrange those poles and the rope and all that, and let's do it. I said, yes, this is it. I was very excited. And they said, anything else you learned in Maharashtra? I said, I can jump through rings of fire also. So the warden was a little cautious. No, that is maybe a little dangerous. I said, no, actually it's fantastic. And Baba's not seen these things. Let's do something nice, dashing. So you would think, if at a place where a person is revered as God and Master, he's establishing an educational institution for spiritual development. If he's coming for the inauguration of that profound university, the program would be steeped in deep meditation and chanting and prayer. Here was a bunch of boys like, how can we make it exciting? That's how much we knew about Swami. It's not bad or good, it's just who we were. And see, that is the beauty of it. It is not about the offering. It is about the intensity of devotion behind it. We wanted to do something for Swami. I mean, just as your kids would come and draw something, Mommy, I draw you, I drew you. Now if your husband had drawn you and shown you, you'd be in deep trouble. Right? That's why we are not good at that. We won't get into that. But your child does it, and you see that, and you say, wow, this is so sweet, and you put it on the fridge with the magnet, and it's there. You show it off everybody. Look at this 3-year-old, she drew me. Why? Because you don't question what is being offered. You go beyond it. You look at the the devotion of this child, the purity of the offering, and go with it. So that is how it was with Swami. So Swami encouraged us simply because he knew, in the hearts what they wanted. They wanted to do this for me. It was nothing else. They wanted my attention. They wanted me to come and... So he loved that. And that was the relation we had with Baba, and students enjoyed with Baba. That is why you had sports meets and things like that. We started off later on. And Swami encouraged us to do the wildest things. So this was... So I said I can jump through rings of fire, and they said, okay, we'll try that. So we built a ring. I said, let me make it more exciting. We built a ring which was just 2 feet in diameter, so my shoulders can just go through. And then I jumped through one ring of fire, and that was working. I said, let's make it 2 rings of fire and see if we can go through it. So we had 2 rings of fire, one behind the other, and I would come in, like a trained monkey. No, what is it? They train tigers to do that in a circus. Sorry. Monkeys are much more intelligent. And so there were 2 rings of fire, and I managed to jump that. I said, no, this has to be something much more better. Let's make it 3 rings and make it 1, 2, 3, and then we practiced with that. And then through trial and error method, because there was no Google those days, we couldn't find YouTube videos of people who had done it before. We had learned that, you dip it in diesel and you immediately light it up. There's too much smoke, so you got to let it dry. And then so when you light it, you just see a thin ring of fire, and everything else is clear, less of smoke. And it's kerosene, not diesel, whatever. So we had all this planned. The occasion came, and Swami came for the function. I also want to share this incident from another perspective of how that evening, for me, I learned firsthand what he meant when he said, I am an embodiment of love. Until then, I heard him say it, but I couldn't digest it. I said, what do you mean you are the embodiment of love? You can say I'm practicing love, understandable. But somebody to say, I am love. I am the embodiment of love. So for me, I couldn't comprehend what that meant. It's easy to speak something and listen to something, but if you really go, what does that really mean? I am an embodiment. That is, this is love? This is love walking in 2 feet? What does that even mean? But that evening, to me, proved the spontaneity of what he meant and how he lived. He was spontaneous in his divinity. He was spontaneous in his love. And I'll explain to you, for those of you who have not heard the story. So we had the function was ready, and Baba came and we did the Bhangra dance, and I wanted to get in everywhere. So I was part of the Bhangra dance, quickly went in the room, changed, came back ready. In the meantime, some other program went, and then I did the yoga on the rope, and Swami was very happy with it. And so after every asana, Swami, from there he would bless me, and I would do namaste, and I'll say, yes, it's working. I'm sure he'll call for me tomorrow and ask for me or something. But I was just excited that there was a one-on-one contact there among all the crowd. So for us, we never did anything for the crowds. Crowds never mattered to us. It was just only Swami. It has always been like that. And that is why there could be President of India sitting, there could be big shots sitting, we would never been looking at them. I mean, they don't mean anything to us. We have great respect for them, please don't get me wrong, but next to Swami, everybody else disappeared. Yes. It was just him. Whether he came with 2 persons or whether he was sitting in the midst of millions, it didn't matter to us. For us, he's watching, that's all. If he got up and went away, we would be like shocked. What happened? Did Swami like it? What do we do? Shall we close shop? Shall we stop this program? What's going on? So for us, it was very crucial that he was why we were even doing it. It has always been like that for devotees. And that is why, it's strange when you had this Kulwant and I haven't been Puttaparthi for 15 years now. So when I watch these YouTube programs, everybody is facing Swami and doing it, though there are millions of people crowded at the back, they're all seeing the backs of all the performers. Where in the world have you seen this kind of... There are millions gathered, they sit for hours, and all they see is the back of all these performers. And everybody is facing one person, just one individual, Swami. That is his magnetism, that is the power he commanded as being who he was. So when Swami blessed me and all that, so I was very happy. Now, the rings were kept behind some bushes, so that at the last minute they were dipped in kerosene at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the 7 o'clock program. And so we were waiting for a couple of other small little programs to be presented to Swami, so it became a little dark so that the fire will be seen. So we said we'll keep it towards the end. So we had dipped it and we waited for it to dry so that you can see only the ring, right? There was one enthusiastic boy. So just before our time came, we were looking at the rings. We said, come on, let's get ready. He said, Brother Sunder, you must thank me, okay? I said, why? He said, you guys forgot to put kerosene. It was completely dry. I just poured it nicely. This was 5 minutes before our program is going to start. 5 minutes before. I said, what did you do? He said, don't worry, it's all done now. See, it's nice and wet. I said, oh my God. You're not supposed to do that. But, you know, adrenaline is flowing and everything, program is going on. You don't want to stop anything now. We said, you know what, let's just do it. Forget it. We'll just do it. The only thing we decided, and this is where I think sometimes you become more important than the offering. For me, that was my lesson when I took home, is sometimes you start with good intentions. You want to make an offering, blah, 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 just explain. But after a while, it becomes, what else can I do? What else I can do? I become so big that the offering becomes too small. And of course, the person to whom being offered perhaps disappears then. It's all about who I am. How does my altar look? How is my bhajan in my house? How was my dinner after my bhajan in my house? So it's just all about me now. The bhajan becomes small and the altar, and the Swami inside the altar is completely forgotten. So that was what that evening was, what else can we do? So what we even went to the extent of, I think when Swami will see the smoke coming out of this ring, he will tell us to stop it. So this is how he planned it. And he said he might send word to stop it. So before he speaks to the warden and the warden starts walking all the way to us, we must quickly finish all the 3 rings. So I told these guys, hey, don't stop, whatever it is, I want to do these 3 rings before Swami, I have to do it. So the ring had 2 handles coming out. And since we didn't plan for this extreme burst of flames and smoke as, you know, with the diesel, the handle was pretty small in its length, because if it's too long then the thing will wobble. So it was pretty short in its length, and the boys had to hold it on either side. So we went there, lit the first ring, and poof, the flames came up, and the boys held, and I jumped through the first ring, there was a clap, and then 2 boys came and they lit the second one. The second one was like about 1 feet or 2 feet away from the first one. I ran and I could see it was completely covered in smoke, but somehow I managed to see the rings and I cleared the first 2. As I cleared and got up and came running, I saw the warden started walking towards me. I couldn't see Swami because too much smoke, but I saw the warden walking and he was waving like that. So I told these boys, hey, 3rd ring, quick, 3rd ring. Now these boys were like, Sundar, let's stop it now, because our hands are scalding, it's too hot. The first 2 boys were like, they're holding it for some time. And it's getting very hot for them. They said, Sundar, let's stop it. I said, come on, man, 2 more minutes, let's do it. So the 3rd pair of boys came and they lit the 3 rings. And I went, before the warden could say, I ran towards the 3 rings. Now this is all done, like I have to do it, I don't care. I want to do this for Swami. And mind you, it was not out of devotion, I was more about what I want to do. So let me be very honest here. So don't think that, oh my gosh, what selfless devotion you had. I was more focused on how I can do it. That's all for me at that point. And so when I jumped, the first 2 boys thought I cleared the ring and they couldn't hold it. They were waiting for every second, so they let go of the ring. But my foot had not cleared it, so my shoes hit the first ring and then everybody just let go. And all the 3 rings were around my body as I landed on the ground. And this is the best part. The best part is, again, we didn't have YouTube and Google. When I say Google and YouTube, I look at youngsters automatically. But we didn't have that. So, and we were not yet into sports and things like that there. We were all very new. It was all bhajans and morning, evening, afternoon bhajans. Okay? So this was the first time we were actually doing something sporty for Swami. So no, we didn't have the concept of a t-shirt, So I looked for somebody has anything tight I can wear because I want to do this. So one guy said, I have a polo neck a t-shirt, if you want to call that. And I wore it. I didn't realize that it was polyester. And I thought, anyway, I'm clearing these rings, so it's not a big deal, or whatever it was. I just wore it because it was tight fitting, and so I thought it's easy for me. So I was wearing a polyester when I landed, and all the 3 rings on my body, I landed. Now there were at least, I think, 10 or 20,000 people that day, because Swami had invited the public on that inauguration, so they were all over the building, terrace, the quadrangle, all of them gasped. The boys gasped. Only one person acted. Guess what? Guess who it was? It's none other than Baba. When I rolled, this is happening so fast, but when I rolled on the ground, I knew this was onto me, and the sparks just started, catching so fast. I wanted to jump out, and the only hand, he said, "Bangaru." I looked up, and there was Swami. He held my hand and pulled me, and started rubbing my chest. "Bangaru, Bangaru, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry." He started rubbing the sparks off my t-shirt. Let's just pause there for a moment and understand. He's wearing silk robes himself. Okay? He is sitting in a jula which was at least 150, 200 feet away. He had sent word to stop it. He saw the warden coming. And later on the boys told me, the moment you started running towards the third thing, Swami's jula, Swami was sitting in the jula. And the boys were, very gently, how Swami, when he sits in the jula, very graciously, the jula was swinging. Now he had all these boys in command. So he knows something is going to go wrong. He had all these boys, he could have said, stop it right now, stop it. And they could have stopped it. Okay? But at that moment, I believe he just jumped out of the swinging jula. He didn't even tell them to stop because there was no time. He jumped out of the jula, pulled up his rope, and started walking towards me or running towards me as I was running towards him. So when I landed, he was right there to pull me out of the fire. To me, that is spontaneity of love. That was a very moving, extremely humbling incident for me. But then, the next day, Swami said, "Where is the fire boy?" My dream was fulfilled. And I never had to look back. Never had to look back. Swami asked me my name, and he announced people, that mad boy who jumped to the fire, this was the boy. So I had to probably cross the 3 rings of fire and purify this chadar to get his attention. I don't know. But I thought in some way it was symbolic. But for me, more than that, which was at personal level, I learned a lot about why our offering should be as simple. It's not about offering, it is the intensity behind the offering. And more than anything, for me, physically, I understood what he meant by spontaneity of his love. I mean, that is who he was. Now you might think that Baba did this in public, so there were people watching, and there were cameras taking pictures and all that. But let me share with you one more incident to which I was a personal witness, if you will, where there was nobody to watch, and Swami did something very amazing. And that was another eye-opener for me. Every year that we spent, every day that we spent, our eyes were being opened. There was no end to this eye-opening business. Eyes would pop out. Every time there was something like, wow, where does this come from? I mean, this is some part of Swami we never knew. What happens to us, and I think it's human nature, that you spend a lot of time with him and then things become routine. But with Swami it was never like that. Every time you'll be on your toes. And there will be something new he will share, just throw you out of your balance. Oh my gosh, what is this Swami did? So there was many years later, once 2 of us was talking to the warden and Swami's car drove by, and usually he'll pass the hostel and go by. But that morning he decided to drive all the way in and get out of the car. And he got out of the car, he looked at us, there's nobody in the hostel. I mean, all the boys had gone to college. So the situation is, we are standing here talking to the warden and just on our way to teach at Swami's college. This is many years later. And so just as we were leaving, we turn around, we see Swami's white Mercedes-Benz turning in, coming right in. And Swami getting out, we just froze. I said, Swami, now, here? There's nobody here in the hostel. He got out and he said, wasting time, just talking, wasting time. Swami was a very strict disciplinarian. I mean, for him, because for him being in the moment was real. Every 24/7 he was in the moment. He was who he was all about his mission. There was no letting go at all. For us it was fun time and devotion time and all that is, right? We segregate times, but for him he was just there all the time. So for him anything waste of time will be like, what are you wasting time? See? And we just said, Swami. He was terrified that, he's not very happy to see us like this talking, but that was near a sports event on January. This happened. There's a little background, so let's pause here and just go to a little background to the story. There was this boy who was come from a very well-to-do family. He was a big, hefty 6-footer, and he was into karate and everything. And Swami had given him a lot of interviews with his family, and they were all in cloud 9. And Swami said, yes, you can join my college. And so he joined the college that previous June or July, and then after that Swami stopped talking to him. Swami has this fantastic thing of giving you all the importance, and he says there are 2 ways I burst your bubble, right? 2 ways I can kill your ego. One is, I will ignore you so much that you will be so small you will just fizzle away, which is again good only. Or I'll pump you up nicely till you burst like a balloon. So there were different things Swami would do. So he pumped this boy up nicely. The boy was VIP. Oh my gosh, this guy is so close to Swami. Swami talks to him every day. Yeah, he was walking around. And then suddenly Swami decided, okay, let's drop him for a while. So this boy couldn't take it. Then he noticed mosquitoes biting, and I had to sleep on the floor. Oh my God, I had to share a common toilet. This is not going to work for me in the hostel. So everything then hit him. Until then everything was, yeah, it's okay. So he was at a point where he became a negative influence to other boys. At a point where he became so negative, he said, this is worse, man. This is not how it is in UK. It is a whole different life, man, and this and that. So the warden got a little concerned, but if you're not happy, boy, I think you should go back home. You shouldn't be sitting here and sharing your frustrations with other boys. They may have none of your frustrations. But anyway, this boy was so frustrated and angry that Swami was not talking to him, ignoring him, and plus all this. So when the sports meet came, we decided, let's ask this boy if he has got some talent. Because I always remember how I got to Swami. So I said, let's give him some chance. Maybe something he can do. He said he knew karate. I said, good. Why don't you do a karate program? So he was very excited. Yes, I'll do a karate program. Unfortunately, what happened a week into that practice, or 2 weeks into that practice, or just before the sports meet, he tried to kick a brick and break it with his foot or something, and he very badly injured his foot to the extent that it was huge sole in it had become septic and blah blah blah. Now that morning, this boy is lying in the room in the hostel when this happened. All the boys had gone to college. Now those days we were a shortage of crutches, those. So out of every 10 boys, I think 1 boy will need a crutch during sports meet. Somebody or the other will be getting hurt. So what would happen is there would be our volunteer boys who would carry the crutches with one guy who could go to college, and then bring the crutches back to another guy who will go on later on to college. So the crutches were in great demand. 2 or 3 pairs would be shared by 6 or 7 people. Because you dare not go and tell Swami we need more crutches. And Swami said, no need of all this. If boys are breaking legs, I don't want all this. So you can't tell him also. Pardon me when I say you can't tell Swami and things like that. I'm just talking in a very physical sense. That's why I said take my experiences with a pinch of salt. Because it comes from a blind man. But so nobody would we would tell the doctors, please go and don't tell Swami you want crutches, and Swami will stop all our programs. We want Swami to come and enjoy it. This boy was waiting for his crutch to come. His foot was so badly injured that he couldn't even hop on the other leg and go, and he wanted to go to the bathroom. For him, that was the point where he came to the edge of the cliff. When God tests you. Your yearning is one thing that leads you to this, right? Consciously or unconsciously, we ask for the tests. You might say, no, I don't want tests, but actually we ask for it. In our yearning, we invoke these tests. It's like examinations. Unless you do exams, you won't know you've got a graduation. you won't know you got a degree, right? You need these exams. And these are circumstances presents itself to you through in any form, in any manner, it could come to you. There could be easy exams, there could be tough exams, but there are exams, we can't escape that. Because when passing an exam or going through an exam, you learn. So there's never a failure in an exam, there's always a learning in spiritual exams. So everything is a welcome, a blessing from Swami. Because you learn from that experience. You might have lost all your money, but you learned something very valuable. You may not have been happy at all. You may be blessed with a child. That's also an exam. In that happiness, are you able to maintain your equanimity and offer this great moment to Swami? Who knows? Every circumstance that seems out of the ordinary is something we invite in our own spiritual path, and it's directly proportionate to our yearning for God. So I think this boy at that point, and I'm speaking for him, so I may not be right, but this is my understanding. I think he was at a point where almost breaking point, because he's lying there, and this is what he told me later. He said, I'm lying there in this bed, and I'm thinking, this is it. I'm done with this place. I'm completely disappointed with Sai Baba. I've broken my foot. I can't even go to this toilet, and this common toilet, for God, crying out loud. I can't even go out there. This is like a zillion miles away, and I'm done. I don't think there is anybody to hear my prayer. So when he's thinking like that, the door opens and Swami walks in. Because he had told us, talking, right? That morning, and he walked past us, straight headed to the sick room. We had the sick room where all the boys will be put in one place. He headed straight there. Even the workers didn't follow him because he was so quick and so wasting time, and he walked fast. So we decided to follow him. He said, stop, undu, akkade unnandi. Best stop sign ever, you can never go past the stop. There's no rolling stop when Swami does like this. It's the best stop sign ever. We just froze. We didn't know what was going on. So, and he walked straight to it, and the next thing we saw is this huge boy. Swami's got his arm around him and his other arm around this boy's waist and helping him walk, and took him right across to the bathroom. He told us, don't come. You guys don't want to serve. You know what it means taking care. And he did that for that boy, waited there, brought him back. And like fools, we just stood and watched this whole thing. No cameras were around. This was not done to please devotees or show an example of this is how we should practice selfless love. This was just love in action. This is spontaneous love in action. This is who he was. And that is why he was capable of touching our hearts as youngsters, as we lived with all our objective approach and our curious minds and intelligence, if you will. He was able to touch something very deep within us simply by being who he was. Even the boys didn't know the story. There was nobody except 4 or 5 of us and some workers who saw this. And he went back. And the boy was changed completely after that. He stayed back for another 5 years. Something deeper awoke within him. He said, when I really need him, he is there for me. No, that's it. I can go on. Do you want a 5-minute break or we can just go on? Okay. Can I have some water? Oh, yes. After I told the story of Radha, nobody wants to say, I want to take a break. I think it is very, for me what I've learned being in Baba's presence is that when really push comes to shove in life, when you really need him, not every time you think you need him, but when you really need him, he is there for you. He is holding your hand. He is guiding you. He is taking you to exactly where he wants you to be. He will not let go of you. That is the beauty of a satguru. Because the satguru is not bound by time and space. He's not bound to the limitations of his body. Even we bind him to his body. We say, this is a beautiful form of Swami, this is so beautiful. But he identifies himself with us, with the inner divinity within us. He identifies himself with everything that is around us. He is beyond the senses. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam, Kevalam, Jnanamurtim. There is Adi Shankara was 2000 years ago, described who a satguru is. And he said, to satguru, I want to offer my salutations. And each of them is a powerful quality and it applies so aptly to Swami. Brahmanandam. Brahmanandam. One who is established in the Ananda of Brahman, in infinite consciousness. He finds true happiness in Brahmanandam. Paramasukhadam. Always content. Always content. Kevalam. Focused in that one objective. Kevalam. Jnanamurtim. Embodiment of knowledge. Dvandvatitam. One who transcends duality. Ghagana sadrisham. One whose vision is as expansive as the sky. Tattvam asya dilaksham. Tattvam asi. Thou art that. That is his goal. That is his mission. Baba says, you are divine, I am divine too. Thou art that. Asya dilaksham. His lakshya is tattvam asi. Ekam, only one. Nityam, permanent. Vimalam, purity. Achalam, unshakable. Sarvadi, sakshi bhutam. Eternal witness to everything that passes by. He is merely a witness. Goes ups and downs, he stands and decides to watch. Bhavatitam. One who is beyond bhavas. There is no emotion. Beyond emotions, beyond feelings. Trigunarahitam. One who is devoid of the three gunas. Satguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. He is beyond all that. Beyond qualities, beyond change, pure essence. Satgurum Tam Namami. To that Guru, to that Satguru, I bow down. The beauty of devotion, why Swami insists on Namasmarana, is because when we contemplate on this with meaning, we understand. Thousands of years ago, people spoke Sanskrit. They expressed their emotions in Sanskrit. They wrote in Sanskrit. They thought in Sanskrit. They dreamt in Sanskrit. So they offered prayers in Sanskrit. Today, if we are thinking in English, we dream in English, we speak English, then we can offer our prayers in English. We don't have to borrow some age-old words and mantras which we don't understand. Devotion is when you meditate on these qualities, and as you think of these qualities become a part of you. And you, without your own knowledge, become divine. You become part of Swami simply by thinking. That is why we equate Radha to Krishna himself, right? Why? Because she was lost in the thought of Krishna, eventually became one with Krishna. Her consciousness just became one with Krishna. Meera initially yearned for Krishna, ran around the streets, where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? And then finally said, Payo ji maine Ram Ratnathan Payo. Finally I realized Krishna is within me. Chalo man Ganga Yamuna Tir. Oh mind, just go within to your own source. That's the source of Yamuna and Ganga and everything. And Krishna is right there. Hanuman is equivalent to Rama. Why? Because in the thought of Rama, in the chant of Rama's name, he became one with Rama himself. A monkey, if a monkey can evolve just by pure devotion, by pure contemplation, why can't you and I do the same. Losing ourselves in the thought of God, singing His glory, listening to His glory. There was a king called Purification. He was a great grandson of Krishna. And he said, oh my gosh, my family had all this, please tell me stories. And just listening to these stories, he became one with the universal consciousness. That is the power of devotion. You don't have to sit and meditate for 3 hours, 4 to 6 in the morning and fix your alarm and say, oh my gosh, I have to meditate. Swami, please forgive me. Today I'm feeling lazy. No. So in my very first interview, I asked Swami, sadhana. What sadhana? Chant Swami's name. Namasmarana Che. Swami, when Swami? Because I was into this yoga meditation thing. When Swami? I thought morning 2 hours, evening 2 hours, Swami will say, or morning 3 times, evening 3 times. And Swami was, this is all instantaneous. Swami, sadhana, Swami. Hey, sadhana, Namasmarana Che. Swami, Namasmarana, Eppudu, when? Eppuda? When? What do you mean when? Ekkadaina, Eppudaina Che. Bathroom lo kani, kitchen lo kani, bedroom lo kani, ekkadaina Che. So anywhere you are, wherever you are, sarvatra sarva kaleshu hari nama chintanam. That's what he said. Anytime, wherever you are, chant the name of God. What is where? When? Why do you need time to chant God's name? And then of course he calmed down. He said, okay, I'm scaring this boy too much. But that was a fervor which he suddenly came to. And I think that is the power of chanting God's name. It doesn't matter what language you chant. And the reason I say is because we think, we have to learn Veda chanting to evolve spiritually. Yes, that is, part of the sadhana. If you want, if you're interested, explore it, understand it, and assimilate it. There's no harm in it. But that does not stop you from just simply sitting and saying, God, I don't know about these prayers, I don't know about this meditation, but I need you. And if your heart seriously yearns, there is no possible reason why the divine will not stop himself. Why will he stop himself from coming to you? I'm telling you this from personal experience. An experience after leaving Puttaparthi, being in the world, being tossed around, just like all of us are. In Puttaparthi, we're very protected. It is very easy to practice love, meditation and sadhana in Puttaparthi. Right? Outside, because there's no mortgage to pay. No businesses ever collapse in Puttaparthi. Maybe outside the ashram, but your whole goal, it's like Swami said, you are like oak trees, banyan trees. In banyan trees, Swami uses the example of banyan tree because it's India, banyan tree is a huge tree. He said, you all are like banyan trees. One day you will provide shade to the cows and the cattle. But today, that very same cattle will eat you. So I have to protect you here. And what a beautiful example. Just because the little banyan tree, when it's on its stage of growth, you have to protect it from the cattle, from the cows who would otherwise chew it and eat it up, right? But when it grows up, the very same cattle and cows who could have eaten will seek shade. But there's a time for that. And so he protected us, helped us grow, helped us find our roots inside, made us believe who we were, what we wanted to do with our lives. At least for many of us who wanted that. Kept himself as an open book for us to understand, study, examine. You want an example? Here I am. Take me, watch me, learn from me. And then, when it was ready, we came out. But even then, let me tell you, the storm has shaken this tree. I don't claim my roots. My roots are very firmly planted in Swami's fold. And I say this with a lot of humility, but at the same time with a lot of faith and determination. I never ever question any circumstances that, "Kyun Bhagavan, why is this for me? Ye mere se aisa kyun hota hai?" I never question that. I question, "Main kaun hu? Puchne wala. Who am I to ask? This is your prasad, I'll take it. This is a good experience. Why am I getting this experience? Why have I invited this into my life? Maybe this is for my growth, so let me go through this fully. If this is a bitter medicine I have to swallow, then it's a bitter pill, let me do it." In the most weak moments of my life, I just yearn, I said, just be with me. Just make me aware of your presence. I know you are with me, but I want to be aware of your presence. Once, Swami told me, just again, talking to boys in general, nothing specific to me like that, but he looked at me and he said, I will never let go of anybody. I said, Swami, please don't let go of me. He said, no, I will never. Ni juttu pattuntanu, means your hair. I'm giving a tough time now. But he caught my hair then, and he caught my hair and he said, I will never let go. If I hold your hand, you will take it away. But if I'll hold your hair, I will never let go. You will cry to allow me to let you go, but I will never let you go. Juttu pattuntanu, and I will never leave. I love that when he did that. But that is how he is. When the Sadguru adopts you, believe me, he is giving you and preparing you for the highest gift that you can ever imagine. The highest gift, far greater than what you have been asked for. So that when the times seem tough, when it seems that he is not responding, just go within and say, make me aware of your presence. Just make me aware of your presence. Like a child who just is crying because of doctor's injection, she doesn't know, she just crawls to the lap of the mother and lies down because that's all she wants, that comfort. Just ask God to provide you that comfort. He provides you, but ask Him to make you aware. And that once that awareness comes, you will feel the warmth and the comfort. And that is an opening, and then you start saying, thank you, God. Before we go to the thank you part, let me offer this beautiful song sung by Brahmanand, Jo Bhaje Hari Ko Sada, because the song again means that whoever chants the name of Hari, whoever loses himself in the thought of Hari, he is the one who is going to reach the highest and the supreme knowledge. And he says, hey, you know what? All these japmalas and the tilaks that you wear in your body, these marks on your forehead and these rituals that you do, all this is not going to save you unless your heart is filled with prema, that is love. Unless your heart is filled with bhakti or devotion, these are not going to help you. Just mere chanting names and some kind of rituals are not going to help you. God you will find only when your heart is filled with love and devotion. And so he says, clean your heart. Clean your heart. Why? Of what? Clean your heart of the reflection of your ego. Get the ego out of the way. Get out. Let go and let God, right? It's a beautiful quote. Let go and let God. Let Him take over. Clean your heart and allow God to express Himself right there. And that can be done with intense faith and seeking solace just with God. That is the essence of the song. I love the song and I hope I can do justice to it. Jo bhaje Hari ko sada soi param pad paega. Jo bhaje Hari ko sada soi param pad paega. Jo bhaje Hari ko sada सोई परम पद पाएगा. जो बजे हरि को सदा सोई परम पद पाएगा. देह की माला तिलक और छाप नहीं कछु काम के. देह के माला तिलक और छाप नहीं कछु काम के. प्रेम भक्ति के बिना प्रेम दर्पण को सफा कर दूर कर अभिमान को अभिमान को खाक हो गुरु के कदम की, खाक हो गुरु के कदम की, तो प्रभु मिल जाएगा। जो भजे हरि को सदा सोई परम पद पाएगा। छोड़ दुनिया के मजे सब बैठ कर एकांत में, sit alone, let the world go by. छोड़ दुनिया के मजे सब बैठ कर एकांत में, ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम। छोड़ दुनिया के मजे सब बैठ कर एकांत में, ध्यान धर हरि के चरण का, ध्यान धर हरि के चरण का, फिर जन्म नहीं आएगा। जो भजे हरि को सदा सोई परम पद पाएगा। दृढ़ भरोसा मन में करके जो जपे हरि नाम को, दृढ़ भरोसा मन में करके जो जपे साई नाम को, कहता ब्रह्मानंद, कहता ब्रह्मानंद, ब्रह्मानंद बीच समाएगा। जो भजे हरि को सदा सोई परम पद पाएगा। This is beautiful, a beautiful composition by Swami Brahmanand, who lived centuries ago. And I know many of you didn't follow it word by word, but there is one particular stanza here, which I sang, and he says, खाक हो गुरु के कदम की, तो प्रभु मिल जाएगा. Clear your heart of ego, fine. And then he says what? Fill it with love and devotion, fine. And then he says, you have to become the dust at the feet of the master. You have to become the dust of the master's feet. Then and only then will you get God. That means we have to become dust. You know how powerful that statement is? खाक हो गुरु के कदम की, तो प्रभु मिल जाएगा. When Pedaputama, this is a lady who has seen Shirdi Baba when she was 15 or 16 in her teenage, and then she came to Puttaparthi and she has written a book in Telugu. And so Pedaputtu is the big Puttu. She had a huge big circle. You could spot her anywhere in the crowd because of that one big Puttu. And she was the one who was the only one I remember very vaguely now, because it was in the early age, when Swami would come out for darshan, she would just call out to Baba, Baba, what? 3 days you have not seen me. So she was the one, because she's pretty old and she treated Baba as a child. That's the Vatsalya Bhakti, or that was her path. She just treated Baba as God. Oh, what do you know? You will simply talk, Baba. This is very hot. You don't go without chappals. Like that she talked to Baba. So Baba, used to avoid. Swami would feel embarrassed. So he'll avoid her because in darshan time she'll be calling like this. Though there were not so many devotees then, but even then, there was a sizable crowd. There was at least 1,000 people around. But so this lady would just wave to Baba and say, "What is it? You're not come and seen me for so many days." So Swami had invited her and us for one evening interview, and that was a very fascinating interview because Swami, and I vaguely remember bits and pieces. Like I said, I might remember when the time comes more, but vaguely remember the bits and pieces. And one of the most powerful things is Swami said, "You know how much I have tested this woman? How much have I tested her, she won't let me go." And she just laughed at Swami. I laughed at Swami. And then Swami turned around and said, my tests. And later on, of course, Swami has also told me, "What is this test you all are talking about? I don't know and test anybody." So this Swami plays around with you. But that evening for me was the point I'm talking about, how to become a dust at the feet of God, where you have to be ready to become a nothing. That's very difficult to comprehend. It doesn't, like I was talking yesterday in the satsang, it doesn't mean, "Oh my God, am I going to lose everything? Am I going to be on the streets?" These are the fear. We're clinging to a fear of the unknown, which may never come to pass. But are we in heart and mind ready to do that? Yes, take me, Lord. Whatever comes, take me. We can do that in a fit of emotion for 5 minutes, but can we sustain it and be ready? Right? Today, right now, in this moment, all of us will say, "Yes, Swami, we are ready to give. Please, Swami, take us right now." But tomorrow morning might be a different story. When we get a bad news through a mail or something, they must say, "Oh my gosh, Swami, oh Swami, please help me, Swami." We are afraid to become the dust because we want to cling to this image of who we are. And so he said, "I have 3 zeros. 3 zeros. We looked at him. At that moment he became very solemn, very serious. That's why that stayed with me. He said, "If you want God's grace, you should be ready." He didn't say God is going to do this to you. He said you should be ready to let go all your material possessions. "Oh, నాకు ఇంత డబ్బు ఉంది, కారు ఉంది, బంగ్లో ఉంది. I have a bungalow, I have a car, I have business, I have money." You should be ready to let go. That is my first zero. Second zero, you should be ready to let go all your attachments. "Oh, my person, I love this person, I love that person, my attachments, my. You should be ready to let go all your kith and kin. Are you ready?" We just kept quiet staring. That was too much for us to take that evening. We were fresh youngsters. But he said it so sweetly. But he said, "You're all asking for Swami's grace," because he spoke so highly of Peddapotama. And she said, "She's such a great devotee." And then, "Who of you want to be devotees?" We all like, "Yes, Swami, we all want to be." Swami said, "Oh, it's so easy to become God's devotee. Are you ready to pass my 3 zeros? Are you ready to give up all your worldly possessions?" The second zero, are you ready to give up all your kith and kin, all your attachments, and be alone in this world? And he said, third zero, are you ready to give up your reputation? Because without money, without friends, you will still be sadhu. You will be a sannyasi. People will bow to you. But with a bad reputation, people will spit at you. People won't look at you. You will be a nobody. Then, if you still yearn for God's love, I will be there for you. Are you ready? He asked. None of us raised a hand and said, "Yes, we did." We were literally, "Oh my gosh." So he was sitting in this chair and he was leaning. I said, "Who is ready?" He said, "Oh." And he smiled. He said, "That is divine path. That is bhakti." Are we ready to let everything go? Are we ready? That is a question each one of us to ask ourselves. Not today, not tonight, tomorrow, but every day, every moment. So when I crave for God, when I yearn for Him, and I don't feel His presence, is it because it's all about me? Or is it all about Him? When it is all about Him and less of me, then He is already there. He's already filled your being. And I think that was a powerful message I took from this song, and that's why it's one of my favorite songs. Khaaku ho Guru ke kadam ki. I've still not become a dust. And that is why I'm questioning what is happening in my life. Make me a dust. Just give me the strength. Stamp me. stamp me. One Swami in Kodaikanal, he had these, we call it Tetra Packs. I don't know what do you call them. Tetra Packs, does it ring a bell at all? These cardboard boxes, juice boxes, right? You finish it and then you can blow it and then you put it down and stamp it. So I have a picture of Swami stamping it in Kodaikanal. So we had fruity or something was there. So Swami one boy had finished it. Swami said, you know what you can do with this? Oh, you don't know? We all said, what do? We just throw it out. So where would you think Swami is going to? Swami said, watch. And he blew it and then put it down and went boom. He lifted his leg and went boom. See how big noise it made. So he was very childlike. But I think that is what we want. We want him to blow us up, put our under his feet, and then one snap. So satsangs like these, spiritual gatherings like these, when we lose ourselves in thought of Sai, when we lose ourselves in thought of God, gives us energy, gives us spiritual strength to face this path. Because truly we are divine. He has come to teach us that. And that is a lesson he wants us to take home of being a devotee of Baba. That's why I was sharing again this last night, this very thought, that it is very easy for us to make a picture of him and put him along with the other 500 gods that we already have in our altar and say, oh Baba, he can do everything, he is God, and walk away saying, but I am not, I am just a poor guy, I have to live with all this, but he is God, he can do anything. So again, we have created the distance. He broke that distance, came down to be like us, to show us that, hey, you know what, you and I are one. I can break my hip like you can, I can walk like you can, I can talk like you can. But when I am sick, look what I am doing. When you are sick, look what you are doing. You are crying for help, I am carrying on my mission. He set an example. He lived within 4 walls of stone and just 10 by 12 feet rooms throughout his life, most of his life. And that didn't confine him. He didn't crave for a morning breath of fresh air or a jog by the beach. Everything that seems so wonderful and nice to us, he didn't crave for a nice glimpse of the setting sun or a nice melody, soft music in his room, Hari Prasad Chaurasya playing the flute, or I don't know, Philharmonic Orchestra, something, I don't know, whatever appeals to us. None of the things that you and I would think are important to put us in the spiritual mood, nothing. He had access to a source which was far greater than all of us can ever imagine. And watching him live like us has to give us the faith and us to pass that faith on to our children, as if he can do it, you can do it too. And tell ourselves, if he can do it, I can do it too. Not out of arrogance, but because he came down to just show us that very thing. That is what Jesus did when he walked this earth. These masters walk the earth, do the miracles, and yet be so simply human, just to show us that, hey, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I have it. You can also reach it. It's within you. Krishna said it. Jesus said it. Sai Baba said it. If we turned our face away for all those and made churches and organizations and built it over centuries, but nobody really takes the essence of it, let us not allow that to happen with Sai. It's very easy for us to fall into that trap because the ego is so powerful that it will make you believe that, oh, you are a humble guy. Just humility. Yeah, that is good devotion. Yeah, keep it there. That's devotion. Ask yourself, is this devotion? Where I feel victimized, I feel like a victim, I'm constantly praying for Swami, guide me, guide me. Guide you for what? Guide you to go where? You are divine. Where do you want to go? That is what he's telling you. I am God. I am not different from God. If we take that as our mantra, and there is no waiting to achieve that stage. Many times after my presentations, people come to me and say, see, you have been with Baba, so you are there now, you have progressed there. We are all right here. So for us, how do we go there? I said, nobody is going from here to there. These are all ideas in our head that we carry. We think to say, I am God, or Swami and I are one, it's blasphemy. No, that will come later on. Right now let me do bhajans. So we push it away. When is it ever going to come? It will never come until you start saying it. Right? When you going to drive back home, I don't care how close or far you are, but you get into your car, you're not going to see your home unless it's right across the street. Then you don't need a car, you'll probably walk down. But when you sit in the car, you're not going to see a home. Can you see a home? No. What are you going to see? You're going to see the end of the driveway. At that point. And what is your focus? So what do you say? Oh my God, I can't see my home. That is way beyond. I can't go anywhere. Sorry, I can't drive. It sounds so foolish, right? Even the GPS doesn't show you the entire path unless you go dig in and show. It just shows you turn by turn direction. So GPS say back out 50 feet. So okay, take the 50 feet step. So to say I am God may make no sense to you. You might say, oh, that is too difficult for me. That is vague. I can't even comprehend. Doesn't matter. But take your first step. Jo bhaje hari ko sada. Let me constantly live in chanting God's name. If that makes sense to me. That's my first step. But my aim is where? To finally go to this destination. The destination has to be very clear in our yearning. And once we seek that destination and take turn by turn, he's a GPS, he guides you. He'll say, okay, next step, take left. Just listen to me, take left. He'll come to you in a dream, he will come to you through a friend, he'll come through to a TV advertisement. I don't care how God needs to communicate something to you, he will come to you. Even if you're watching Shah Rukh Khan do his best dance, I don't know if he still does dance or not, but even right in the middle of that, if he has to convey to you, you will get it. If you're beyond that, plant that seed that Swami, give me the highest learning. Let me benefit by your presence. Let me benefit by your teachings. There has to be a message with your life. I want to take that home. And his resurrection, on the day of resurrection, celebrated by millions across the world. See, for him, whether they said Sai or Jesus, for him it made no difference. For you and me it makes a difference. But he said, when I leave, everybody will be remembering me. And on the day of resurrection, billions and billions of people across the world remembered resurrection. Whether it was Jews or Christians or even Muslims, they all knew what resurrection was. Everybody knew the day of Easter. The day of resurrection. And he chose that day to leave the world. Yes, the world is thinking of the infinite. Today is my day. I mean, it's a fascinating exit. Again, as a big surprise to all of us. I mean, nobody could fathom it. When is there ever a good time to tell bye to Swami? There is never a good time. So the memory of that is always going to be painful for those of us who know him, who love him. It's always going to be painful. But for him to have made us chant that entire month, spend thoughts in his satsang. How many of us did chanting? How many of us purified ourselves? He let go. I think he just unleashed his entire potential on every single devotee who was chanting his name. And he left. It can't be a much more glorious exit than that for an avatar. It wasn't unlike Krishna who died in some forest killed by some hunter. It wasn't like Jesus who got crucified, leaving all the devotees, 12 of those people completely shaken in their faith. There was no big test for us. He made us chant, 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 chant. On the day of resurrection, he resurrected himself back into this infinite glory that he came from. That is the beauty of Baba. I would like to finish this morning's presentation with a small song. We hadn't practiced this, or I didn't share this with you yesterday, but it's coming to me now, and I think it's nice that you just give me the Shruti and you will get it. He's a very talented boy, and I'm so sorry. I sat with him last minute at 11 o'clock last night, and he picked up so much for me, and so I'm really grateful to him and Bala for accompanying it and making this a beautiful satsang. Kabir was a very great saint, and he shared a song, and I want to present that song in Baba's presence and how this related to me in Puttaparthi, and we can all join together because there will be bhajans in the middle, and we'll sing together and experience the glorious days when he actually walked in the ashram, when he actually gave darshan. It seems only like yesterday. And like I said, those thoughts or those memories are so fresh in our hearts, it's hard to believe that physically he is no more. But rather than languishing on that side of the picture and saying, oh Swami, I'm missing you, that is there, that's always going to be there. We are always going to miss him. When is one day we're going to say, oh, now I don't miss him anymore? We can't never do that. The Guru, for me, He was my only God, my only Guru. But if you understand what he stood for, if you understood where he came from and what his life meant, you take the spirit of Sai within you, and that empowers you, that consoles you, that gives you the courage, the wisdom, and guides your thought and word and deed every day. But Swami, having said that, I want to cheat today and take us all back to the days when you actually walked amongst us, spoke to us, and where every darshan of yours was a different darshan. And I want to share that with this bhajan. Re ma pa ni sa re ni da pa, pa ni sa re ni da pa da ma ga, re pa ma re ga ni re sa. Kabira जब हम पैदा हुए जग हंसे हम रोए. As he sat behind the spinning wheel, Kabir was a saint. Now I said, he's not meditating and getting this intuitive song, this beautiful, powerful poem that he wrote. He got it by doing his daily work, cutting vegetables, sitting in front of the computer, or cutting vegetables, sitting in front of the computer. He is spinning the cotton into thread and the thread into a blanket. And he discovers this strange irony, crosses his mind, and he says, oh world, this is Kabira singing. Kabira, jab hum paida hue. Oh, Kabira is singing. What does he sing? He says, oh man, look at this irony. When you came into this world, you came crying. And watching you cry, everybody else was laughing. You know, the baby is born, the baby is the one who's wailing, right? And everybody else around is laughing. And so what's the irony there? He says, Jab hum paida hue, jag hase hum roye. Aisi karni kar chalo ke hum hase jag roye. When you came into this world, you came crying and everybody else was laughing. Oh man, may your deeds be such that when it is time for you to leave, you go laughing and leave everyone else to cry. What a profound truth. And then as he wove this blanket, he said, this blanket is like me. It is like my body. What do you do with this blanket? And so he compared this blanket to his body and he said, drench this blanket in the name of God. Chadariya jeeni re jeeni, jeeni re jeeni, ye naam naam ras beeni. Chadariya jeeni re jeeni, naam naam ras beeni. Chadariya jeeni re jeeni. How did this blanket come into being? Ashtakamal ka charka banaya panch tattva ki bhuni. 9-10 maas unan ko lage, 9-10 maas unan ko lage. Rakh maili kini chadariya jeeni re jeeni, te naam naam ras beeni. Chadariya चादर बनकर आई चदरिया रे, जब मोरी चादर बनकर आई. When the blanket came of age, when the body came of age, what do you do with this? I send it to the Guru. The blanket is sent to get dyed, right? You want to make the cloth, now you want to dye the cloth in some color. What color do I give this cloth? He says, give it the color of God himself. Why do you stop for anything less? So send this body to the Guru's ashram and let it be colored in the color of God himself. Jab more chadar ban gar aayi अंग्रेज कोई ऐसा रंग रंगा रंग रे, ऐसा रंग रंगा रंग रे के लालो लाल कर दी चदरिया जीनी रे जीनी के राम नाम रस भीनी चदरिया जीनी रे जीनी. प्रहलाद सुदामा ने ओढ़ी चदरिया रे, ध्रुव प्रहलाद Sudama. Dhruv, Prahalad, all these youngsters, all of them wore this blanket. All of them became saints. This bhajan reminds me of my days in Spontaneity. For 15 years, we saw Swami every day, sometimes 4-5 times in a day. But believe me, not a single darshan was the same as the previous one. Every time he stepped out of that room, every time you saw him, there was a different melody in the air. There was a different bhajan around him. There was a different aroma. There was a completely different energy. That is why every darshan we would crave for every darshan. It would never be like, oh, I had the morning darshan, I'm going to skip the evening darshan. No, I want to see him again. I want to see him again. Why? Because every time you saw him, he was different. I want to share that experience of a 24-hour darshan through this bhajan. It would be evening time as all the boys after the school, we would rush and sit at Swami, and he would come out and there would be the chirping of the birds and the gentle breeze in the Prashant Nilayam, and it would almost be like the time for Rag Desh, which is the rag of this bhajan. Sudama ne ode chadariya. And as Swami would step out for darshan, this bhajan would come to my mind. Raghupati Gandharva Raja. Let's enjoy his darshan with this bhajan. Raghupati Gandharva Raja. Patita Pavana Sita. Patita Pavana Sita. Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama. Patita Pavana Sita. Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram Jaya Sita. Ram Ram Jaya Sita. Raghupati Raghava Raja. And then later, the bhajans would get over and Swami would get up to receive the arati. What a magnificent darshan. We would be sitting right at his feet and we we watch him rise up to receive the arati, the orange color of his robe, the orange flame of the arati, the orange glow of the setting sun shining across the walls of the Prashanti Mandir. A different melody. There would be time for Raag Kedar. Sudamane ode chadariya, Dhruv Prahlad Sudamane Sagar se par utaro Sainath Bhagwan. And then we would grab our blankets and little bed sheets and run and seek our places in Mandir around Swami's where he lived. And some of us would lie down right under Swami's bedroom window because we knew that there were nights when there would be a small light lit up and there would be this halo of hair and somebody would peep out of the window and we knew who it was. And we would lie awake late into the nights hoping we would get that one glimpse. And lo and behold, there were times when Swami would peep in the middle of the night and the entire ashram is sleeping and it's absolutely quiet. You will hear a small clearing of her throat and you'll see Swami peeping out. Those were the moments in the middle of the night. I would think it was perfect time for our Malkams. Sudamane ode chadariya, Dhruv Prahlad Sudamane ode, Dhruv Prahlad Sudama. Who else can you think of? Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And then would come early morning. And those were times when we would all do the Nagar Sankirtan and assemble right under Swami's temple, and the silver door would open and Swami would step out early in the morning, at 5 in the morning. Vaikuntha I'd like to offer the queen of all ragas, Sindhu Bhairavi, at Swami's feet. Sudamane odide chadariya, Sudamane odide Dhruva Prahlad, Sudamane odi Dhruva Prahlad, Sudama Meera ke Prabhu Giridhar Nagar, 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 Giridhar Nagar, Giridhar Nagar, Sharan Kamala Balihari, Sharan Kamala Balihari, Govinda Hare, Gopala Muradhidhara He Ghanshyam Hare, let's go back to our old bhajan. Dhruv Prahlad Sudam, Prahlad Sudamane odi, Sukhdeni Narkini, Das Kabir, aisi odi, Das Kabir, aisi odi, kyun ke kyun kar dini chadariya, jeeni re he Ram naam ras dini chadariya, jeeni re bolo Ram Ram Jai Radha Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram, bolo Ram Ram Jai Sai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Ram Jai Radha Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sai Ram, bolo Ram Ram Jai Sai Ram, Patita Pavana Sai Ram. Dear brothers and sisters, we humbly pray and offer our gratitude and love for Swami to have brought this energy, his presence, and filled our hearts and minds and spirit in this small little satsang that we offer to him and to our own divine selves. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everybody. I'm not sure whether you were able to see when Dr. Iyer was singing this last bhajan, that Swami showed his presence twice when this paduka fell down. It happened earlier during the day when Sudha was singing her bhajan. Yesterday, I was listening to the concert that Anup Jalota sang for Swami on the 86th birthday last year in Prashanti. And before he sang the same bhajan, Chadariya Jini Re Jini, Anup Jalota mentioned that this was Swami's most likable bhajan. Today we had the honor of Dr. Iyer singing. Swami showed his presence. Thank you.